Hey there everyone, this is Anthony. Hope you're doing well. Today's video we're going to be taking a look at order of operations. All right. And order of operations you may have heard from your teachers. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And we're going to be focusing on the first letters of each of these words. And the P for please, we're going to focus on parentheses first and simplifying anything within those parentheses. E is going to be for exponents. Remember, we covered that in a previous video. You can also call them powers. Same thing we're dealing with. M for multiplication. The D for division, multiplication. D for division. A for addition. And S for subtraction. Now, when it comes to the parentheses, we're going to work from the inside and then we'll work our way out. And we're going to go in this order when we simplify. The multiplication and the division, these work hand in hand. We can do either of these first, whichever one we see first as we go from left to right. And then same deal with the addition and subtraction. You can do either of these first as we go from left to right. All right. So let's dive in with an example, and we'll follow this outline, and we'll see how these problems get simplified. So the directions for these examples that we're going to do, we're going to just simplify the expression. And they're called expressions because there's not an equal sign. The equal sign, when we see those are the equations, but these are just expressions. All right, so first example, let's take a look at negative 4 squared. And notice something, it's the 4 that's being squared. It's not the negative 4 being all raised to the second power. We saw an example of this in a previous video. If they were looking for negative 4 being squared, it would be written as this. All right, so just be on the lookout. Then we're going to do plus 24 divided by 3 times 2. All right, so here's our problem. And if we're taking a look at our outline, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, the parentheses, we're going to look for parentheses or brackets first. We don't see any of those, so we move on to number 2. We're going to take a look at exponents. And we do see an exponent right here. Remember, it's 4 being squared, not negative 4 being raised to the second power. If it was negative 4 being raised to the second power, it would be negative 4 times negative 4. Negative times negative is a positive, and we'd get positive 16. But that's not the case here. In this case, we have this. All right. So if you don't see the parentheses surrounding the negative as well, you can consider the problem to be this. And so let's do some simplifying. 4 to the second is 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And remember, it's as if we're multiplying by negative 1 out here. So negative 1 times 16 is negative 16. Plus 24 divided by 3 times 2. All right, so there are no other exponents in this problem. Let's keep going. Multiplication and division. Remember, we do these together, whichever one we see first, going from left to right. So as we start from the left, we go left to right, we see a plus sign, then we see division, then we see multiplication. So even though it says multiplication first, whichever one comes first between either multiplication or division. So we're going to do 24 divided by 3, and that we can also write like this. We see 3 goes into 24 8 times. So 24 divided by 3 is equal to 8. The next thing we see, we said multiplication and division. There's still multiplication here, so 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16 from either our times tables, or remember in I believe it was our third video, that we can write 2 rows of 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we can add up the 2 rows. 8 and 8 is 16. All right, and then now we have addition and subtraction, whichever one we see first, left to right. There's only addition. 16 plus 16 is 32, and we have simplified the expression. All right, so as long as we have our list here, we're going to go in order. 1, 2, this, I'll put 3a and 3b because they're really, remember, multiplication and division work together, and I'll do 4a and 4b for this because these work together also. So as long as we do these 4 things, then we'll be okay and we can simplify anything. Let's take a look at another example. We're going to do 4, and then we're going to have some brackets, which are just another type of parentheses. This could be 25 minus 5 minus 2 squared, close the brackets. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on the parentheses. And we're going to work, well, we see, even though these are brackets, we're going to work all within here. But even within the outer brackets, we have to focus on the inside and then work our way out. We mentioned that earlier. So let's focus on these parentheses inside. And within these parentheses, we see 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. So we're going to do some simplifying. All right, just like that. And if you notice, this exponent applies to just the stuff inside the parentheses. It did not have anything to do with this minus. So now our next thing in our list, because we took care of these parentheses, we're making our way out and we're working within these bigger brackets that were out here. The next thing we have is this exponent. So 3 to the second is equal to 3 times 3, or 9. Okay, so we have 25 minus 9. And now we've broken it down to just the original big bracket. 25 minus 9. Remember from our actually it was our second video, this is subtraction. And subtraction means just adding the opposite. All right, so we make our number line. If you've forgotten how to do this, we're going to go out to 25. And then we're going to go to the left 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The spacing is a little bit off, but you get the idea of what we're trying to do here. So we're going to count backwards: 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. And we see that 25 plus negative 9 is indeed equal to 16. And now the brackets, remember, they're just another fancy word for parentheses. So we have 4 times 16. 4 times 16 is equal to 64. All right. So you can either use your timetables for those, a calculator, or we can make 4 rows of 16, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then we make 4 rows and just count them up. 16 plus 16 is 32. There's going to be 32 here, 32 here, and we get 64. All right, hopefully this is going well so far. We're going to do one more, all right, just to make sure. And let's take a look at negative 22 minus 2 to the second divided by, let's do 3 times 4 squared minus 5. All right, so where do we begin? We have something being divided by something else. Whenever that's the case, we're going to treat the numerator and the denominator separately. And we're going to simplify all of this first. We're going to simplify all of this. And then we can take a look at what our final fraction is going to be equal to. All right. So we see parentheses down here. 4 squared minus 5. Let's deal inside the parentheses. After the parentheses, there's an exponent before the minus. So we're going to do 4 squared. Which is 16. We still have the parentheses. 16 minus 5 is going to be 11. Multiplication, 3 times 11. And since we started with the denominator, if you want to finish up with the denominator, that's fine. All right. There's nothing else that we can do with the denominator, so we're going to leave it as it is right now. Let's work on simplifying the numerator. The first thing that I noticed, because there are no parentheses, we see an exponent. And be careful, it's just like we saw right up here. All right, this negative is not part of the exponent. It's not part of what we're raising to the second power. So this we're going to rewrite as negative 22 minus, and the minus has not moved because it's just 2 to the second. Remember, if it's not in parentheses, we can consider this to be our problem. 2 squared is equal to 4. Negative 22 minus 4 is negative 26, because remember, 22 to the left, and then we're adding the opposite. So we're going to go an additional 4 to the left of negative 22. So we get negative 26 divided by 33. And the numbers that go into 33 are 1 and 33, 3 and 11. None of those go into 26. So this is our simplified final answer. So I hope these help. This is our order. If you follow this, you'll be A-okay. If you got something out of this, share it with a friend, like, subscribe, all those good things, and I will see you in the next video.